Hi everyone, I'm Michael Manrique and I'm one of the Habit Guys. We teach realtors prospecting habits so they finally become top producing agents. And welcome to the Realtor Habits Podcast, where agents don't need more stuff, they need better habits. Before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by our Habit Guys Facebook group. We all want to prospect consistently and be more organized. Well, to do that, we need to think, do, and act like a top producer. Watch us prospect live every week for free in our Facebook group to learn how to connect with expireds, FSBOs, and your sphere. Learn what to say over the phone to not sound salesy, but instead make friends. All you have to do is visit us at habitguys.com/Facebook. Again, that's habitguys.com/Facebook, and learn all the skills top producers use in their day-to-day business. If you know anyone that can gain value from this podcast, please do us a huge favor and share it with them. We're here to help as many realtors as possible, and we appreciate your help to do so. All right, let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Go! I had a new student tell me that they went to some event in Vegas. I think it was a KW event. And they had the speaker, I think her name was Mel Robbins. I might be remembering this incorrectly. But essentially one of the major takeaways with her speech was this strategy, and I've actually heard her in her podcast, which is very popular, where she has shared that a strategy that has helped her take action whenever she feels like stuck in a malaise, in a daze, right? She just does this countdown and then says, go, right? And the problem is that for most of you, that's probably not going to work every day, right? If it did, and then, this simple strategy would have everyone being productive and being accountable to themselves and being in integrity with what they say they're going to do, right? And it's simple to understand why once I explain it to you, right? So what is happening in the brain, what's happening to us, right, when we go through this process and execute this strategy of saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, right? For most realtors, it's important. Let's take a step back. So for most realtors, it's important to understand. And again, so if you have your prospecting strategy and you're knocking it out of the park and you know exactly what to do, and then this strategy probably will help you, I would say the majority of the time, because you know what's on the other side of taking an action, okay? But for most realtors, that's not the case. And at some point, maybe you have ebbs and flows. Maybe you're in an ebb right now, right? Where you're just in a prospecting malaise. You're just not prospecting, meaning that you don't start prospecting maybe for a day or two, maybe for a few weeks, maybe even for a few months at a time. And it's important to understand what's happening here, because essentially what we're talking about here is cognitive attention, right? So our attention can be really in three places, if you want to think about it. What we want to accomplish, right? Prospecting, making the call, right? It could be outside of us, right? That's like devices, social media, people, right? Our environment, right? Grabs our attention. Or our attention could be inward on bodily sensations or thoughts, right? So when we implement this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go process, what's happening is maybe our attention is outside of us, right? Maybe it's inside of us. And then all of a sudden we start speaking 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. What is happening? Let's slow it down and see. Well, number one, we're speaking. So we're using a sense to then hear information, right? So it's important to understand that everything starts with what we like to call data. Really, there's a 3-step process to take any action. The way I like to describe it is data, desire, action. Data essentially is seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. Okay? Those are essentially our senses, how information comes to us at either a unconscious or conscious level. It's very important to understand that. In fact, the unconscious system is actually running on autopilot and making a lot of decisions for us that we're probably not even realizing how often it's happening. So we have data, and then the information comes to us, right? So let's get very specific. So we go to prospect, and all of a sudden it's, what does prospecting mean to me? Obviously, cognitively, every single real estate agent listening to this is like, prospecting is the way that I get to have a conversation to determine intent to buy or sell, to then potential appointment, to then potential contract, to potential deal. So everyone understands prospecting is important. This is not a secret. But what is happening though, if we all know this cognitively? That's where the unconscious comes in, right? This is where our senses are taking in this environment, and it's replaying. It's going into our library of thoughts faster than the sound coming from the snap of my fingers. And it looks up the page in the book where this scenario is about to happen, something that relates to it. And it says, we don't know what's going to happen, because our brain is a prediction machine. Constantly throughout your life, it's actually been creating, documenting patterns of behavior. And then it can tell you, then it presents you with a certain emotion or thought to either protect you or to have you move forward, right? And so this is ultimately what we need to understand, that essentially this process of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, it's bringing our attention from either outside of us or inside of us back in line to moving forward and allowing our cognitive self, the one that knows rationally, prospecting leads to a conversation, which leads to an appointment, which leads to a contract, which leads to a deal. Ultimately getting us to move forward, okay, in a direction that you want, as I mentioned. So while this might work, again, for some of you, it won't work for most, because attention isn't the only issue we need to consider, right? It will certainly not be a consistent strategy if you have not addressed the underlying cause to inaction, which are our beliefs that we have for each action. Like in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, he has this quote, which is, behind every system of actions, there's a system of beliefs, right? What does that mean? A belief, in simple terms, is either saying you will or won't take action. You will or won't prospect. So you get into the environment. This is all happening without your cognitive effort. It's really important to understand this. This belief system, what it does is it starts sending you bodily sensations. Those bodily sensations start increasing your heart rate, which increases your breathing, or vice versa. And then you start thinking that you need to be protected, right? This is where your limbic system comes into play, and it uses this antiquated system to protect you. And essentially it's a survival mode, right, that you get into. Now, for some of you get paralyzed. For some of you guys, distract yourself. And ultimately, what we need to understand is that this system is literally the foundation behind everything you do. Now, here's the thing. The paradox, and it's really a paradox, is the way you solve this problem of dealing with this self-preservation system, this antiquated self-preservation system, because there is really nothing to fear if you really think about it cognitively about prospecting and connecting with people. In fact, it's something that we all agree cognitively, it's the process to be successful. So the paradox is that for you to change your beliefs, this underlying foundation to allow you to take action consistently, what you have to do is prospect. That's right. But for most of you, taking 5 seconds to just dial a phone number is just not so simple. It's not simple because of the potential discomfort, pain, or the potential unknown associated feelings and thoughts that come with prospecting. This is where habits are the solution. How do you feel right before you go and tie a shoe, or make a sandwich, or brush your teeth, or even get ready to drive in your car, which is statistically one of the most dangerous things we do every day? Are you afraid of the potential unknown? Nope. Because our brain is a prediction machine, as I mentioned. And when it can predict the future, your cognitive state stays nice and steady, right? Your amygdala, which is your unconscious state, I should say, it doesn't feel like there's any threat. So it doesn't send you these bodily sensations that increase your heart rate or your breathing and all of a sudden have you paralyzed or doing something else. You just get in your car and you go and drive. Now, every successful real estate agent that prospects and connects consistently has gone through this process of habit formation. It's really important to understand that. It's a process you will go through at some point once you're consistently connecting with people and the strategy that works best for you. Now, if you're interested in learning how to make prospecting a habit, go ahead and schedule a free coaching consultation where you will learn how we can help you be in integrity with what you want to accomplish in your career to help you become that top producing agent you want to be. To schedule that call, go to habitguys.com/call. Again, that's www.habitguys.com/call. In conclusion, just because you learn a strategy to bring your attention forward in a direction that ultimately is going to get you to prospect, if we don't address the underlying problem, which is understanding how to change your beliefs, and then you might find yourself in this cycle of thinking that you're not good enough and shaming yourself. And ultimately, what you need to understand is learning how to control the parts of yourself that are out of your control. In closing, here is the missing piece to your business. It's accepting that when you know better, you do not necessarily do better. You do better when you change your habits. Let us help.